So, hello, hello. We are going to talk about what do women want and desire. I've been talking about women's fantasies, and in one of my last videos, a few videos ago, the kind of fantasies that women have, because women have lots of fantasies and women have lots of desires. And I want to get into more detail around the kinds of desires that women have, the kinds of things that they want more in their life, the kinds of feelings that are there that don't really get have the opportunity to get cultivated too often, and women in relationships in particular, or women not in relationships as well, but um, just so we can give you some more information about what's going on with women, right? So I brought a friend of mine in, Samantha Hope. She lives in Vancouver, BC, where I am right now. And she works with a lot of women, doing women's circles and women's healing programs and sensual programs. So I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself in more detail. And yeah, hi, Samantha.
Hi, Lianna. Thanks for having me.
Yes, yes.
Excited to talk about this topic with you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
important. Yeah, so I've been working with women for about 5 years, doing a lot of different women's groups around empowering women around their sacred sexuality and their energetic sovereignty. So there's been a lot of relearning about how women can embody their sexual prowess and their sexual strength,
Mm.
and also like rewiring and clearing away trauma. And a lot of women, there's still a lot of stigma around a woman being a sexual being, and also being a intelligent person or a sacred woman. So there's still this dichotomy between like a woman being into their sensuality and sexuality, but also being like a stand-up woman in community. So I am really I'm really excited about kind of bringing those two things together, and also teaching women about being discerning and meeting men that are meeting them in their hearts as well as their sexual centers. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I've worked with a lot of women. There's been lots of conversations around what they need, what they fantasize about, what they're also dipping their toe into in the pond in relation to, like, yeah, their desires. Because again, like in society in general, there's so much stigmatization around something that's like life. Like nature is having sex all the time, and why are we not talking about it and shying
Hmm.
away from it?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk uh about sensuality for
Hmm.
women, and
Hmm.
what men can do to essentially create like a safe place for women to blossom.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a good place to start when we talk about a safe place, because here we have women who have been brought up in certain ways with certain beliefs about being a woman. And one big belief has been about not really learning how to express themselves in a sexual manner, and not being allowed to, and it being repressed for generations. But even in this generation, it's still there, where women are afraid to allow themselves to really be who they are as a sexual being, really allow their desires to come through, right? And a big reason for that is because they don't feel safe,
Mm.
right? So I just want to start there, because if if you have a partner, a wife, a lover, um, and you want to help open your partner, your wife, into a place where she can then feel like she can start to allow some of her sexual energy to come out. What she really needs as a start is a container of a very, very safe space. Can you talk a little bit about, like, how can you create that safe space for her?
how can you create a safe space for a woman to
Mm-hmm.
open up? Well, is to set the stage. I mean, it depends on where your relationship, how long you've been with your partner, your wife, if you're just starting out going on dates, is really being chivalrous. That word.
Chivalrous.
Yeah. Is, taking her out on a date.
And
And
women still love that, of course, right?
yeah, like
No
it's
matter
kind of
how,
funny we're talking about this. It's so simple, but I see that this isn't happening because I don't know why, because of social media, because I also think that men also are unsure
I
about how
think,
to.
yeah, I think totally confused. Confused. I know that I've come in contact with a lot of men earlier in my life where they didn't, it's politically correct kind of place of what should I do. And this is men, especially in Canada. Like, do I do this or don't I do that? I better not do this. I better be careful. Like, I don't know. And then their masculinity's kind of been repressed as well. So then they're not sure, like, are they allowed to express themselves? So you're younger than I am. Do you still find that? Because when you say the word chivalry, I'm thinking like this is like an old traditional concept that I mean, I like it. I
Yeah,
enjoy chivalry. I
it's
mean, I also enjoy equality. So, trying to bring those together, right?
yeah, well, in my generation, like I'm in my mid-30s, um, with all, like you said, with the rise of all this equality, which is amazing, there is also a lot of confusion now. And so a man in relation, if we're just talking about more heteronormative terms,
Yeah.
like of course there's exceptions. I'm just going to say that right now. But if
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
talking about heteronormative terms, is like there is a polarity there. So when men aren't really showing up, as in, holding the container for this woman to open up into this like sexual blossoming goddess, then there's a lot of like anxiety between both of them. There's the ambiguity is it's really hard for anyone to feel safe in a energy that's ambiguous. And so I would
So,
say simply putting it is that, yeah, create a erotic experience. Create a date where you're like, maybe you're going to get a whole bunch of different foods like for a charcuterie board and wine, and like you get candles. I'm just saying basic things, but like you invite her into this like meal, or you make her a meal, and then you enjoy and you ask her about her day and how she's feeling and things like that, and you're very much kind of like being confident in your contain, like being confident with asking her questions and showing her that you really desire her, and and then going further with that.
yeah, let's just go. All of this is really beautiful, and this is like kind of the direction that we want to take it even in more detail. I want to talk a bit about something you said earlier about being ambiguous, men being ambiguous, and let's talk about what does that mean? Like, why, you know, if a man is ambiguous, a woman finds herself not necessarily in a safe space, right? Because it's not clear. It's not clear where she stands, what she can do, how much she can allow herself to be free. Now, when you said ambiguous, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think when I say ambiguous is I find that there's not a lot of direction. So in the sense of like just simply saying, hey, if you're just meeting somebody, it's like, hey, I actually really like you. Or like again, like just asking questions to get to know the woman, and then going from there, as in setting up a date. Even that, I know it sounds really simple, but people are very unsure and then nothing gets started, or like I find that maybe for men, they already may have a lot of fear or anxiety or not knowing exactly what to say or how they're going to show up as a man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like there's a lot of question marks in relation to personality, and there's a lot of, I think, men that don't feel like they should do these things, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It should be chivalrous, but women want to be taken out and to be asked questions, because when you get to know any human, then that means that you're really wanting to get to know who they are and you have genuine interest. And then from there, then we can go into more of the details of like, how do you set up a sensual experience
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or
I think yeah, I think that you found a really good point here that I want to like spend a little bit more time on, because I feel this as well, and I see this um, in the men around me, in my, even friendship connections, let's say, or in the different clients that I have and the kind of partnerships that they have, where they don't feel seen by their partner. They don't
Mhm.
feel like they get the kind of presence that they need in order to feel safe again, feel that they can let go, that they don't get the feeling that their partner really cares that much in that sense, and the women want to really feel cared about and really feel seen and really feel like you're there and you're present with them, really present. And that's, I think, a big part of the chivalry, is like being very present, watching how, connecting with her, you can, well, energetically if you can, but even just watching in a visual sense. Okay, let me get the cues, let me get the signs, and being super present. Put the phones down, even for a 30-minute period of time. Don't look at your phone. Create a presence, because that makes a woman feel really special, unique. Feels you can relax more, like, oh, this person is actually interested in me. Or even your husband, oh, my husband's even, is actually interested in talking to me, and he's there, and he's looking at me and listening, and maybe he's asking me some questions. This is simple, but I see it as such a major aspect of connecting in with your partner, your wife, so that you can start to understand what she wants, what she desires, and she can start to open up, because she feels like you're there, present with her, and you're listening to her, and you actually maybe want to know, you know?
yeah, it's I think it's paramount. And with the rise of like all, like you said, the devices, there's so much avoidancy between like both people
Yeah.
that I think um continuing this like whole safety and you asking her and getting to know her and creating that safety is also for men to know themselves and know that they can do that and they can be confident instead of going like two steps farther and just worrying and having anxiety about like maybe like in the bedroom or something like that, is like starting like with these very simple steps and watching how it actually isn't that complicated to get your love or this person that on a date with into a sensual space. It's really really simple, but not so simple anymore, because I just think that there's a lot of insecurity.
Hmm. Yeah, well, the people are, and I hear this a lot from men, they're very afraid of the rejection,
Hmm.
right? And women too, of course, but men in particular have started to really hold back, and even in relationships, hold back from expressing themselves, or I guess being present in that sense, because of fear of the rejection that might come towards them. So it's it's also like not taking things so personally, and just being strong in yourself, strong in your body, strong in your presence, and realize that if you're you're saying heteronormative, like the man is playing the masculine and she's in the feminine, which is mostly the kind of dynamic that happens. I mean, it switches around too, but if you're playing in your masculine, you're nothing is affecting you. You are just present. And the feminine energy, you have to really, really realize the feminine energy is like emotional, and when she's allowed to be, free, she will be very emotional, very full of feelings, and maybe movement and sensations. But it's not about the masculine. It's about herself being more free to allow herself to be more of herself, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, we start there. We start with presence, right?
Yeah. And fake it till you make it in a sense.
Yeah,
Sorry, it tickle.
yeah,
Like fake it till you make it in the sense of like, it is okay to be in the masculine.
it's okay. It is, and it's
It's
it's safe to be. It's safe to be in
celebrate.
the masculine as well. It's
Safe.
safe.
It's safe to be in the masculine. And then two, these simple things around paying attention and creating, setting the stage, asking questions. And then from there, like it will just start to unfold, like you said, for her and sorry, I have a tickle. And also, like you said, understand that she is different, and this emotional, sensual side of herself, when you're genuinely wanting to for her to show that to you, then she's really going to start to open up because then she trusts you.
Yeah,
That's another
yeah,
thing that I think is big because
yes,
of, again, the rise in technology. There's so many ways to avoid. And so I think that there is more of a distrust between the sexes or people in general. So both people creating that sense of trust that goes with the container in the beginning, of that, if she shows if she's actually authentically starting to express herself to you, then just listen to that. And also, I think when we're getting more into the bedroom, is that also understand that all of these different qualities of experience that she may be having and you're having are okay. So sometimes if you are like, she's feeling really good, but then something feels a little bit more sensitive or emotion is coming up, then that's okay. You haven't like failed.
yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah.
that's all part of it.
Well, and this is, I'm really happy we've come into this point here, because if you can do the practice in the way that we're talking about, where you step into a loving masculine that's present, present with your partner. um, you're asking questions, you're watching her, you're feeling her energy, and just allowing her to be herself in whatever way that happens to be. This transfers very easily into the bedroom. It just becomes like a more polar kind of scenario. you she needs to be, as she's going into an orgasmic state, she's going to get wilder and louder and more movement, and you still have to be present for it and hold the space. It just becomes like a bit of a stronger container that you have to start to hold, right? But because I get a lot of guys wondering, how do I help my partner get to orgasm? And how do I do a G spot orgasm or this? Well, one way to start to even get your partner warmed up is to do what we're talking about. Practice this state of presence in a regular scenario, in a day-to-day scenario, and see how that makes you feel. Watch how your partner responds to that, because you're going to take that same scenario into the bedroom, and you're going to have to, really hold that container solidly.
Yeah, and when you said that, it made me think of like really attuning your ear, like really
Mm-hmm.
attuning your ear to listening to the little details. And some practical things that you could do was like even giving her like a hand massage or like a foot massage
Mm-hmm.
or even a shoulder. And you know a lot of the people want the fiery, like, yeah, G spot orgasms, things like that. But the roadmap to that, like as some people would say, the foreplay is
Mm-hmm.
way more, I would say, is way more important,
Yeah.
because that, from a somatic perspective, that's actually really going to relax the body. Like even putting your hand on a knee or your hand on a
Touch.
hand on
Touch.
your heart, on a hand on her heart, breathe together for a few moments, like
Mm-hmm.
simple things like this um can actually start to really relax the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to start to open up to then getting to the more juicy parts of your intimacy.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. It's essential to take your partner on the, when I say, if you're going on a sensual journey, you start with this kind of stuff. You start days in advance, certainly hours in advance, calming her, relaxing her, getting her to really trust you in the environment outside of actually being, sexually into the sexual, really deeper sexual energy, because she's not going to be able to go to those places of deeper orgasm or G-spot orgasm or anything. She's not going to be able to go to any of those places without her having this nice slow ease in, and and a place where she can like really relax and feel comfortable and feel like she can totally trust you to go on a deeper journey with you. So yeah, super, super,
Absolutely.
super.
And another thing that, you know, from my personal experience is
Hmm.
like adding playfulness into your
Yeah,
date as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Because it's like so much of us are walking around and we're talking about sex and it's so serious, but like it really can be this innocence. We actually can really, when we bring back the innocence to into the bedroom, it also is another way to add more ease to both of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so depending on where you're both at, for sure, like knowing your partner, but being playful, like you do something, you do a move and it's just like a little bit awkward, you just like make a joke, or you
Yeah,
just take a
yeah.
moment.
Even if you haven't been present with your partner, you haven't, sat there rubbing her feet or putting your hand on her heart, you can just say, I saw this on a video. I'm gonna just try this out, and you could be laughing and, enjoy the moment, enjoy the time. Just because I say being, talking about being present, it doesn't mean to be serious and to be rigid. It's actually an opportunity for you also to drop into yourself and into your own body and to relax within yourself, because you're going to be present with another human being. She's going to be present with you. And it gives you an opportunity to start to feel something different, start to feel, and you might feel, "Oh, this is really silly," or "I don't know what the heck am I doing here?" Like, okay, so just say that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try this out right now. Let's just go with it and see what happens and laugh and giggle. But, the presence can still be there, even if you're in that space, even if you're in the playful, silly space. It's actually, even better.
Exactly. And there's something that happens when you're laughing or crying. It's like a clowning
Or crying.
exercise I learned, but it does something somatically to your system where you start to awaken your pleasure system too.
Yeah.
So if you just like are laughing a bit, I mean you're giggling. Like the word giggling to me
Yeah, even that.
just means flirtation. Like to me,
Yeah.
when I'm giggling with somebody means that I'm like subtly turned on. Like that's me.
Exactly.
Or just like, just
If you're making her smile, if you're making her giggle, you're like, you're on your way. You're on your way because that, like you just said, exactly what you said. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful connection. It's more relaxed. It's more flow. Like, I just feel it in my body right now, just talking about it. You want to have fun. You want to have fun with your partner. And if you haven't been having good sex or you haven't been connecting or it hasn't been working out, then try to lighten up the scenario and just go in slowly and try these few small changes, just little shifts to see what happens. Even if you have been, doing well with your partner, try some of this stuff. Just go in subtle, go in soft, go in gentle, and have fun with it.
yeah. And I think now I'm getting all excited. I'm like, what are some other things
I'm
we
like,
can
oh, let's do it. This sounds good. See, we're two women. We love it. We love it.
well, I'm just
More of that, more of that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking also like if you've been in a relationship for a long time and you're wanting to inspire this lightness and this creativity, and you're also wanting to show your partner you care to ignite the fire in the relationship again, you can do simple things like what if you wrote her a poem? Or what if you like maybe you're not some people are like, "Oh, like I can't write poetry." What if you bought her like a little poem or just these cute little things that would make her melt because you're showing some type of appreciation? You could
Hmm.
add that. And I think some people don't, we get so maybe stuck in a certain perception of our partner
Yeah.
and we just take each other for granted. Like people, I think people do. It's just like these subtle little things that can be the switch to turn things on again. And or yeah, joking around about things about each other, like teasing. No,
Hmm.
it's like I didn't think I would be talking about this, but like teasing each other in a way that is going to create that spark. I mean, you don't want to like make fun, but like teasing shows that kind of familiarity with each other and that
Yeah, oh, you're
you're
so cute
engaged.
when you laugh, or you're so, like teasing little things. And like you're saying earlier, like presents, giving little presents, but well, it's not, doesn't have to be like going to buy a $500 or whatever thing. You find a little rock somewhere that's shaped like something that reminded you of your partner, and you give that to her, and she'll just be like, and you have a story behind it where you found it, where you walked and you saw her, and it reminded you of something to do with her, and you bring something like that that's sentimental. These little tiny gestures go long, long way. It really shows that you want this connection with you want, like, you're at a deeper level with your partner. You're not just, yeah, flowers are nice, typical flowers and chocolate, but it's like this little things that you find, the little things that reminded you of your partner, so that she feels like, oh, he's got me on his mind, and he's bringing me something sweet and something nice. And Yeah, so I like the little present idea. I mean, we're talking all about this foreplay, and I think this is the conversation that I've wanted to have, and I did a video about this a few videos ago, because I'm just feeling like people are just going way too fast, and I'm getting questions that are too much, like jumping on how do we do a G-spot orgasm? But I can tell you how you can create a G-spot orgasm, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to work unless your partner is super warmed up and ready to trust you completely and fully in this experience that you're going to go on together. So we're talking about like going on the sensual experience of starting with these little things that slowly will help her relax, help you relax, help both of you get into that mood, get titillated, this seduction, this kind of fun, playful, gentle seduction, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this is like, what is it? I liked what you were saying about people really wanting to bullseye in relation to a certain really somatic response. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, G spot. So that is an embodied response. Yeah, it feels good. But the whole constellation of
Mm-hmm.
your time with each other, that's the goal. Like that
Yeah.
is what I at least would advocate for, is just your like, what do you really want when you're listening to this talk? Like, what do you really want when you're trying to learn more about sexuality and intimacy for another? It's like, I think it's really about getting to know another person, getting to know yourself and sharing that with each other. And then then you're going to get to these mind-blowing orgasms, right?
Mm-hmm. And if
Yeah.
you've been with a partner for 20, 30, 40 years, it can still be getting to know your partner. You never
Yes.
know somebody fully, even over all of that period of time. I mean, here you're going to come in with something maybe different. You're presenting yourself in a different way, a way maybe she hasn't seen before, and she's going to respond in a different way. So already it's a different experience, right? Getting to know each other in a way that you've never been before, so that desire also ignites much easier when you're experimenting, you're exploring into sort of new territory. So if you haven't done any of this, then I really strongly suggest you try it. Is even if it feels really strange and weird and cheesy and difficult, just give it a try, because it will be different and you will get a different response, right? So we're going in and we're being present. We're creating a nice safe container of playfulness and gentleness and laughter and teasing. And so now where are we going?
Now we're
We're getting her warmed up.
so
She's like,
so we're
oh,
getting her
hey,
warmed up,
massage the feet, the
doing
hands.
massaging. Like um I really love like being really awakening the breath is super paramount also to relaxing each other. Also,
Hmm.
talking a lot about nerves, all these new things that you're doing. If you take a big, deep inhale and exhale and like really feel it in your chest, and you're doing that with her, like even if your bodies are touching and you're kind of like breathing in and out, that can really, you're leading again her to come into more of an open space, to open up her body.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
breathing is really important. Also,
Hmm.
like, also if you want to extend the massage, give her a full body massage is beautiful, and ask her what she would like. And some women also because of what we just said in the beginning of the conversation around the stigmatization around sexuality, a lot of women have blocked throat chakras too. So you can have to like tease it out, or maybe she doesn't quite know exactly what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe try different types of touching, and start in a gentle way, like, with your fingertips, like maybe like along her arm, I would
Mm-hmm.
do that,
Mm-hmm.
and the underarm, and ask her if she likes that, and then move on to like maybe a firm touch on her shoulder. Or you can try, like, maybe she likes try a little bit of a fiery touch, like,
Mm-hmm.
gripping a little bit more, and see if she's opening up to you, which, like, expanding, and maybe she's starting to moan a little bit or something like that. Or if she's retracting, like, if she's retracting into herself, it's usually, like, because either maybe she's feeling nervous, or maybe she's not liking it and she's not saying anything. But
Mm-hmm.
then you ask her, like, "Hey, did you like that when I do this? Do you like this?"
Yeah,
And
always checking in, checking in.
yeah, taking the initiative in that. You can do that, and you can start again
Mm-hmm.
with some of the touching mixed with the actual vocal communication. You can also say, like,
Yeah,
I really like, sorry, I was just I really
yeah, yeah,
like
go ahead, go ahead.
I really like also when my lover, like, he tells me, he's like, "How does it feel? Like, I think it's really hot when you tell me, like, how this is feeling right now." That really turns me on to be asked to communicate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, using the voice. So we've got using the voice and touch. So the touch is, I would start just like Samantha's saying as well. Don't really go to the sensitive areas. Don't go into the nipples, the breasts, or the genitals yet. Start everywhere else. A woman's body, almost everywhere in the woman's body, it's orgasmic. She can get she can feel, yes, she can feel the sensations everywhere in a gentle touch. You start with gentleness, and then you can add other kinds of pressure depending, like Samantha is saying, how she's responding and talking about it. And this is one thing that, working with many couples, I find that this is one area that people are really afraid to explore, expressing themselves vocally, expressing what they desire, expressing how they feel. And so if you're the guy and you're leading here and you're kind of present and you're directing, then ask, like, how do you feel? How does it feel to you? You can also say to yourself, it just feels really nice to touch your arm, your hand, your skin is so soft. So you can express how you're feeling, and
Mhm.
also then ask, how does that feel? Do you like this? Where do you like to touch the most? And she might, well, I really like it over here on my neck. And then oh, okay, I've got some new information. And then you can touch her neck. And oh, I also like it over here. And oh, I like it when you touch a little bit harder. So you get information that helps you take it to another step. You keep asking the questions so you can keep taking it in. You can go in a little bit more and a little bit more, and she trusts you more and more because, oh, he's listening to me, he's interested in actually what I think. And also, oh, well, this is a new experience. That I'm actually voicing what I like and somebody's listening.
Mhm.
So it's a
Huge.
beautiful exchange, right? And like you're saying too, like for me as well, like to hear the voice of the masculine is in that in itself is enough to just like make me feel softer inside. The
Yes.
voice has a lot of power.
Yes. And when, you kind of in the beginning talked a little bit about the emotions. So when things are coming through, and maybe if she has been closed off for a long time, who knows why, right? But maybe there's some things in the past that are even being cleared,
Yeah.
like traumas, whatnot. doesn't have to be traumas, but she's been closed off, to even like put your arms around her at some point, like
Mm-hmm.
even from behind, and like hug her and just like, I got you, babe, or like that's big for me. Like I like if some emotions are coming up, and just holding her and just being like, you're so beautiful. I have you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got you. Yeah, these simple things. And another thing that I thought when you were explaining was also words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Words of affirmation in the bedroom. It's just like, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so, even though it sounds simple and cheesy, but like you're so hot, like being empowered to use your voice, she's gonna open up even more
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in
definitely
relation.
important to use your voice. I mean, um, I say usually like there's different ways that you can express yourself, and it can be you can either tell her how she looks and compliments, tell her how beautiful it is or how incredible her eyes are, her skin, or you can tell her how you feel, right? You can tell her, oh, you make me feel so horny or so hot. I just love being near you. You make me feel so good. And you can also talk about how the other sense that we haven't hit, and this is another important sense, is the sense of smell. Like really smell your partner too. Get up close, and so you're touching and you're talking, and like just like usually we're attracted to that person, a person, because of a sense of smell as well. Like there's a lot. All of our senses are open when we first come together, and the sense of smell is really important. That you find this mate that, wow, like you really like what they smell like. And so you're with you're with this lover, you're with your wife, and so express that as well, how delicious she smells, and just smell her skin. Like, oh my God, you smell so good, and you'll feel it in your body, and she will feel amazing just to hear that as well. That you've taken it to another level, that you're actually like smelling her body. You're attracted to that. This is your form of attraction towards her. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really allowing yourself to voice what's going on, as well as you can use your voice to tell her what you'd like her to do. So this is back to like direction, clarity. So if something comes up, and I would say, before we go deeper here, that before you start any of this, go in with no expectation of anything sexual happening. Just go in with wanting to make a connection, a sensual, intimate connection. No, don't think about sex. Don't think about orgasms. Don't think about any of that stuff. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, so what? It's gonna you're gonna try again another time. If you let it go, things are going to be more organically produced. Things are going to move in the direction that they need to go when they need to go, because both of you are going to have to sort of go into this pleasure dance, back and forth until, yeah, maybe it'll just be a night of cuddling and holding and like light touching. Maybe it will go farther. Maybe it will go all the way to the bedroom, the couch, and the kitchen. Who knows? So just don't go in with any expectation, because then there's always the surprises that come up, right? So yeah, I think that's really important to let go of those expectations that, oh, this is the night I'm going to give her a G-spot orgasm. No, like forget it. Just
Yeah.
you're going to go in to connect with your partner in a way that you haven't connected with them before.
I think that that is probably one of the most important take homes for sure. Yeah, because you're meeting, you may know your partner, but you're meeting this person new every time you see
Yeah.
them. And you're also new, and there's all these different variables that may be coming into it. So if you can both keep on meeting each other with that deep listening, then that's really what's actually going to get you to the home run. I can't believe I say that.
Well, you know,
um no, but
yeah,
seriously, like it's no, and I think like in our last conversation we said that too, but that's so key. And
so key.
and you know, still you can have, like, again, we're setting the stage, you can have fantasy things that you maybe want to invite eventually, like there is even opportunity to role play and things like that, but it's to have all these things in your toolkit, but then also just bring it out when it seems like it's a match.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you feel it coming up, when you feel like it's and this is like going back to now to what we were heading towards, is to be asking yourself, like, what do I desire to do now? Like I just talked about how you want telling your partner what to do in a directed, clear manner, right? So in order to know what that is, and in order to like make it clear, tap into yourself a little and just ask, what do I desire right now? Like what am I feeling inside of me that I'd like to, give a little direction here? And it might be, why don't you, slip over here beside me? Or why don't we go over, sit over this little area? Or why don't you lie down on the bed? Just gently directing based on your own desire. And that can keep going throughout the entire process of your sexual connection, your intimate sensual connection. Oh, I feel like rubbing her back. I feel like flipping her over. I feel like opening her legs. I feel like, like let that come out, and you can speak it. I want to open your legs. I want to massage your pussy. Whatever comes up, let it be voiced. And then you can look at her like and see if she's like, okay, or if she's like, no, no, but you can get a response from her then, if you're allowing yourself to tap into your desire. And I would say most of the time, if you're able to, like, I mean, I'm not most of the time, but like, if you can be clear and it's coming from your deeper desire, she's going to be more willing.
Yeah, I think it's
Going to feel it.
coming back again to the chivalry, owning the masculine.
Yeah.
You need people to own the masculine again in a healthy way. There is the
Yeah.
divine masculine as much as there's the divine feminine.
Yeah.
They need each other. And then
Yeah.
you create beautiful magic together. Um, yeah, I I I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else? What else?
There's so much. There's so
There's
much.
so much.
Uh, there's so many things that I think that we've given everybody a lot of stuff to start with. I don't. I mean, we're gonna have other conversations. I'm gonna have other people talking about other aspects of what we were talking. I'm gonna get some guys in here and talk about what they're doing. But I think this is like such it's like a really great soft conversation we've had about going in gently, and the different things to think about. And it's like, again, Samantha is saying, like, it seems it's all very easy, but it's all so important. It's all part of this sensual journey that you need to take your partner on in order to get her interested in sex, if she's like completely lost interest now. Because I do hear from some of you guys on my comments that I can't get her. My wife doesn't want to have sex anymore. I don't know what to do. I can't even talk to her about, like, I talk about MFMs, and I know a lot of people are interested in MFMs, but their wives aren't willing to talk about it. Well, if you go in and do these kinds of things we're talking about, and you start to create the trust again, and you start to build sensuality with each other and connection, and you start to have these really passionate kind of connections with each other, then you can start opening it up more, like role playing, or talking about MFMs, or talking about other possible scenarios, because I'm telling you, women love sex. Women want to explore too. Women want to have fun. Women are sexual beings. They want to be appreciated for who they are, what they can offer, and they can give a lot. They can
And
give
they
a lot.
want to, yeah, and they want to feel empowered in that position. Because
Yeah.
like what was just coming through with me when you're saying that these comments of people wanting to go to these kind of extreme, it's not extreme, but they just want to do the most like popularized media. Like media is so intense, it's like it's amazing how there's so much more sacred sexuality and sexuality education, but people are just like wanting to do these like really wild things, and then that can also really intimidate a woman that has been closed down from sex. She wants to feel empowered, and for you to like raise her up into that position before, and being kind and listening and sensual, and then she will become the wild sexual goddess that she is. But it's just like, when we're all, when women have a lot of like also comparison. So
Hmm.
to make to make the woman that you want to be with feel so special is so key.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And there's a lot of, as well, like pornography, and everybody gets caught up in these places, and I do find generally that the masculine is more prone to get involved with all these fantasy kind of ideas, and they have all these things that they want to do, and yet there's no focus on just like cultivating this beautiful, partnership that they have. And there's no blame or anything, because I think a lot of people just don't understand that that's necessary to help your partner become part of your journey here, and just know that she's a different being in a different kind of energy, and requires different kinds of attention. She can go to those places too. I've gone through that journey, and once I was in a place where I was feeling full trust for my partner, and feeling like such a woman that could express herself again, and could be a sexual being, and could start to like talk about her desires. And it took me time, it took years of him being there and being present and going through stuff with me, and me exploring my own inner being, and allowing myself to be expressive and tapped into my own sexual energy. But when I was there, and when I was feeling safe, I was ready to go and do all sorts of fun, crazy, wild things, and without fear. I had to get through all those fears that were like layered up around me, telling me, you're a woman, you can't be that sexual. You're a mother. You're 40 years old. You can't do these kinds of things. And I
Mhm.
had to like break these walls down bit by bit by bit, until I felt like, okay, I think, like, yeah, I can do these things. Of course I can. I want to. I want to. I
Yeah.
want to experience these things. I want to experience the wholeness of my sexuality, my wholeness of my desires, and I still am. I still am. So,
Yeah.
but I still require the nurturing from. I still require the chivalrousness, chivalrousness.
Civil, yeah.
I still require that from my partner. I still require that, because I still need that feminine energy being built up. I still need to feel safe in a safe space, a safe container, a safe, you know, playing with safe partners I feel comfortable with, that I can trust, that I can like really let go, really
Yeah.
open myself up. Yeah.
And when you were saying your own experience, I've had with my lover, like I actually am really having the wildest like visualizations. um I shouldn't say wildest, because that is not what I'm trying to get at. I've been having the most intimate, deepest, with visualizations, like psychedelic sex. And a lot of the time it's like, like a lot of the time it's just we're holding each other. And like
Mm.
sometimes it's missionary. And I've been, wildcat Sam, like I've done a whole bunch of things, been to kink events and just like paddling. And honestly, I find that it's so nourishing. Like I'm really feeling the love and feeling
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
orgasm through my whole
Mm.
body
Nice.
in the simplicity. In the
Yeah.
simplicity.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's so much porno, there's so much of this visual. We're such visual people.
Bombarded.
And then when we're so dominated by that sense, is that's why we're also, I actually think that's a really good point.
Hmm.
um because we're so dominated by our visual sense, and I think men are even more,
Yeah.
um is that we're missing all the other senses that are really going to get the woman to an amazing orgasmic and a very intimate space with her.
I think this is a good way to end it with this last statement by Samantha, because then you can go back to the beginning and watch the whole thing again. Because that's the summary right there. Yeah, that's so true. So true. Yeah. I think we've been going for a little while, so I think we're gonna wrap it up
Yeah.
this time, and we are gonna we'll yeah, we'll come back some other time and get into some more juicy conversation. So awesome, Samantha, talking to you. Really enjoyed the conversation, and I hope everybody learns a lot. I know you will. I know, like, yeah, this stuff is all dear to my heart.
Yeah, and if there's, I know primarily there's probably men watching this, but if any women are interested, I am launching an app and a new program called Alchemy of Love. So you
Mm.
can download it on Google Play, and then there's a women course called Alchemy of the Goddess. So yeah, I hope you join me, and thanks, Lianna, for having me on your show.
Yeah, yeah.
I love talking to you.
We'll post Samantha's links in the description if you're interested. Just go down there, and there you go. It'll all be right there. Thanks,
Yes.
Samantha. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Thank you everybody for coming, and much love making.
Have a great night. Much love. Thanks, Liana.
Thank you.